But all of that to say, we are all aware that Marvel Studios has been in a little bit of a downturn. But Thunderbolts came out and it did really well, and I think it's really good. And people keep saying it is the best movie since Avengers Endgame. So I am here to officially decide what is the best Marvel thing that has come out since Endgame, so that I can know if Thunderbolts is the best, because I don't know. I have a little bit of recency bias that makes me think it might be the best thing that's come out since Endgame, but I don't know that it has been. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and actually listed out every project that has come out since Avengers Endgame. Now, a little bit of a technicality here. Spider-Man No Way Home technically came out after Endgame, but it is technically part of the Infinity Saga. This is me putting on my absolute nerd hat. Spider-Man No Way Home is technically part of the Infinity Saga, and everything else is Phase 4 and Phase 5. But it did come out since Endgame, so it needs to be considered. And that's where we're going to get started. So we have our tiers here. S, A, B, C, D. As y'all know, D is the worst, S is the best. I also have a question mark here for I'm not sure / I didn't see it, which will probably really only apply to one thing. So why don't we just go ahead and get started? Spider-Man Far From Home, or as it's kind of called in my household, the most contentious Spider-Man movie. I think it's a pretty decent film. My wife thinks that it is a completely non-progressive film for any of the characters, and it doesn't actually do anything, because Spider-Man ends the movie basically where he was at the end of the last movie he was in, which is a surprisingly based criticism from my wife, who is not a Spider-Man fan the way that I am. But all that to say, I would say Spider-Man Far From Home is a solid B tier movie. I would maybe put it low A tier, but I think that's generous. I would say it's a B tier movie. Now, it's important to distinguish here. I love Mysterio too. I think he's a fascinating villain. I'm trying to judge these as a whole, because there's so many things that could be attributed to this ranking. How do they stack up against other Marvel things? How do they stack up against all of cinema or all of television as a whole? That's going to be really, really hard. My wife do be spitting bars. she gets there sometimes. So it's going to be really hard for me. I'm going to try and keep it relatively objective, but kind of like what I was just talking about in my Thunderbolts review. It's really hard not to judge Marvel things in the context of Marvel as opposed to in the context of cinema altogether. That being said, the next thing that came out after Spider-Man No Way Home, what kicked off the streaming era, and some could call the Trojan horse, WandaVision. I think WandaVision is easy S tier. It was meta with the format that it released in. It was a love letter to television. It created some of the most fascinating moments in the Marvel story altogether. And it made us fall in love with Vision and Scarlet Witch, which I don't think anybody was planning on initially. Nobody was planning on falling in love with them the way that we all did. Mickey says A tier. Mickey can type it in chat. No, I'm just playing. I think I would say the finale, and I see you typing it in chat right there too. The finale and the VFX schwa that it turns into would bring it down to A instead of S, except for that fire line. What is grief if not persisting? That alone. Oh no, they are typing it in chat. Shit. Okay, you know what? I'll leave it top of A tier for y'all. Does that make you feel better? Do we feel more comfortable there? Let's not jump to S too early. You're right. Let's not jump the gun. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I recently rewatched this. Love that. Falcon and the Winter Soldier has some really decent ideas, but ultimately I don't think executes them all to the very best. I think in the context of television as a whole, I probably put it C tier. As a Marvel project, I probably put it low end B tier. But I think I'm going to reserve the right to change my mind later and move it down to top of C. But right now, I'm going to have... Actually, you know what? Let's establish our rankings. I'm going to say top of C, but I reserve the right to move it to the bottom of B. Loki. Now, some of these series here that have multiple seasons, I am going to encapsulate all of them into each other. Z, you're thinking of Brave New World, which don't worry, we will get there. So Loki season 1, I would put high B tier. Post Loki season 2, where I think it kind of got a little I'm gonna say bottom B tier. I do think Loki overall is a pretty decent show. So I'm going to say low B tier for Loki. That first season is really fun, and there is some really good moments in season 2, but I think B tier overall. Black Widow. I just watched this movie like 4 days ago, and I can confidently say it's a D tier. It's not... There are redeemable moments in it, but nah. It's not that great of a movie. I love Florence Pugh in it, and it's fun to see Black Widow, but it is a D tier movie through and through. What if... I'm putting it in question marks because I saw the first season and I thought the first season was fun, but there's 3 entire seasons of that show, and I don't think it's fair for me to judge it, especially if I'm doing like Loki and some of these other shows in the context of all of their seasons. I don't think it's fair to put it anywhere other than that. I think I also would have liked Black Widow more if it came out in the years that it was set in, but it just too little too late in my opinion. Shang-Chi, I'm gonna say I didn't love the ending CGI slop of the fight sequences, and the Trevor Noah stuff was kind of weird. So I'm going to say top of B tier. I really enjoyed like 80% of Shang-Chi. The bus fight sequence is incredible. There's some really good stunt choreography. The like fight sequence with like the neon lights and like the ladders is super cool. There's a lot of really good moments. Shang-Chi himself is a really likable character, and the villain is really well established in a way that we really needed in a post Endgame MCU. So I'm gonna say top of B tier for Endgame. Eternals. Okay, this might be my hottest take here for Eternals. I really love... See, this is where we come into like, where does it stand as a film by itself, and where does it stand as a film compared to the rest of everything else? So I'm curious where y'all would put Eternals. I think on the merit of what they were trying to do, on the merit of a lot of the technical components of this film, and on the merit of like how seriously it takes itself in everything there, I think I put it. This might be my hot take. I think I put it low B tier. And I see what y'all are saying with C, or saying that it was really bad, and I fully respect you for that, and that is your opinion and you're valid in there. This is my hot take. It's a hot take. I really like Chloe Zhao as a director. I really liked, if you're like bored one day and you have no, I'm losing him. I'm losing the chat. If y'all want to put this movie in a slightly different lens, I would really encourage you to watch. There's a series on Disney Plus called Assembled, which is behind the scene documentaries on all these movies. I would urge you to watch the Assembled episode on Eternals, because they really fucking tried with this movie. It just didn't hit. I'm not gonna let y'all bully me on this one though. This is gonna be my hottest take of the night. Low B tier. Low B tier. What is going on B tier? Hawkeye's an A for me. I don't think this is a hot take. I think Hawkeye is really funny. It's really fun. It's entertaining through and through. I really enjoyed the weekly release format. I think that Haley Steinfeld as Kate Bishop is like perfect casting. And I think it is criminal that it has taken them as long as it has to not make like a Young Avengers or a Champions movie where she is one of the leads. She is so well casted. She is so good in this show. I enjoyed this show through and through. There was recent news that came out. We'll probably talk about this on another stream, that apparently they wanted to do a season 2 of Hawkeye, but they offered Jeremy Renner half of what he got paid to make this first one. And he was like, "You're fucking kidding me. No." And he specifically called out the Disney finance team. He's like, "I love Marvel. I love Kevin Feige. I love the Disney Plus people, but whoever in the finance office wrote that number down was a complete disrespect." And you know what? Good for you, Jeremy. I just wish there was an app where we could talk about this. Spider-Man No Way Home. Look, I was talking to my wife about the fact that I was going to be doing this tier list, and here's the thing. No Way Home, as like the experience I felt going to the movie theater, is like an immediate S tier. Spider-Man No Way Home as like a Spider-Man film in the context of other Spider-Man films, probably an A tier. But Spider-Man No Way Home, like as a standalone movie, not be this high. I think I might put it lower. But if I'm thinking about opening night, the feeling that I got opening night, being in a completely sold out theater, post-pandemic, watching Spider-Man No Way Home, is like what cinema is supposed to be. Can y'all do the cinema? I think I have that. And you know what? If I'm putting No Way Home S tier, I'm putting WandaVision S tier. I'm doing both. Yeah, I think I think in the context of Marvel and in the context of this list, it's an S tier. I think objectively as a movie, I don't know that it's like S tier, but God, did it just feel so good watching that movie, and that movie has been my comfort film for years. Moving on, Moon Knight. really wanted to like. I think there were parts of Moon Knight that I really liked. I think the cast, every single cast member of Moon Knight, would love to see them again. The show itself was not that good. You cannot... The moon! You cannot tell me this show is better than a C. I would not believe. I don't know that this show is better than Falcon Winter Soldier. The episode where he like goes into like the afterlife. Nah. Costume fire. Costume S tier. The show itself. Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. I think it's kind of C tier. I think I expected a lot more from that movie. I think there's a lot of really fun components of that movie. And Sam Raimi definitely put a lot into making that movie feel like something different, but I just wanted more out of the movie. It didn't give me what I really needed, I think. So I'm going to say C tier. Miss Marvel? Disappointing. The movie or my ranking? The Madness delivered, the multiverse did not. That is fire. Fire right there. That's all I have to say. Miss Marvel, I really enjoyed the first half. The movie was disappointing. I really enjoyed the first half of Miss Marvel. I think it kind of fizzled towards the back half. A lot of the really interesting things that they were doing on that show kind of fell apart on itself. I do think I enjoyed it maybe a little less than Multiverse of Madness. But I think it's a nice show. I don't think I'm the audience for Miss Marvel, really. I think if I was a teenager, I would probably love Miss Marvel a lot more. But it was fine. It was Iman Vellani is incredible. She's great. Thor: Love and Thunder. Look, I'm a defender of Love and Thunder. I don't think it's as bad as some people say it is. I think it's better than Black Widow. But I think it's in its right place there in the D tier. I don't think anyone would disagree. Yeah. These in chat. I Am Groot. There's apparently 2 seasons of this show. I have not seen a single episode. I don't believe it is technically canon. She-Hulk Attorney at Law. Guys, is this going to be my other hot take, or are y'all on my side here? She-Hulk Attorney at Law. She-Hulk. Oh, Miles. I had to time you out for that. CD? Wow. Okay. Y'all might not like me where I'm going here. I think She-Hulk is B tier. I liked it more than Loki. But I really, really love, like, She-Hulk falls in like the exact category of like my type of comedy. Like, I really loved the meta comedy. I really loved the like kind of snarky, arrogant, but really self-aware and down on their luck lead character. I had a lot of fun with all the story arcs. I think She-Hulk is B tier. And I stand on that. Also met one of the writers on She-Hulk. Super nice. The Daredevil episode was good. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, it gave us Daredevil. It gave us horny Daredevil. How could you not love that? Hate me if you will. I think She-Hulk was pretty good. And I will stand on business with that. Werewolf by Night, I think was so fun. And I think I put Werewolf by Night at B tier. Which I'm surprising myself by. I didn't think this is where it would go, but in comparison to everything else, I think that's where it falls. I talked about this on a stream recently, but I actually met the director of Werewolf by Night and complimented him on it. And he was like, "You watch in black and white, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." It's just so fun. It's a complete standalone thing. It's completely fun, and I love how disconnected it is from everything. I would love to see it come back. Werewolf by Night, Moon Knight, Blade, bring them all in, make a Marvel Knights show. But it was so fun, and if you need a little spooky watch on Halloween this year, Werewolf by Night, give it a shot. It was really good. Wakanda Forever. Now, this is where I think Wakanda Forever, Black Panther 2, or Black Panther Wakanda Forever, is the inverse of Spider-Man No Way Home. I think as a film, as like standing on a merit of like a film in and of itself, I would probably say it's one of the better films that has come out post Endgame. I think the artistry, the intentionality, the direction, like there's a lot about this film that I feel really puts it on a separate category, on a separate caliber than Marvel movies. But compared to everything else that came out, it's just such a hard experience. I watched it twice in theaters. And I think I put it top of A tier. I think as like a Marvel experience, it's not the best it can be. And I think a lot of that is the subject matter. A lot of that is the contextual matter of it, of course. Obviously, it's very bittersweet, yes. But I think that's its sort of downfall, and what keeps it from being an S tier for me is that there is something noticeably missing from this movie, even though it's what the whole movie's about. Does that make sense? Like, and Ryan Coogler has spoken on this, that they took a lot of what was going to be the original Black Panther 2 and wrapped it around the story of grief and loss. And I think they did a masterful job at it. But in the context of everything else, I think top of A tier is a safe place. So that's where I'll leave that. I think fair to say. I saw an S and a B for it, so I think that balances out. Top of A. Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. I completely forgot that this came out. It was fine. It was fun. It was cute. I remember watching it. I traveled to my parents' house for Christmas. I remember watching it there. S tier. Top of S tier. Best thing that's come out. No, it was just fine. It was fine. It was cute. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is objectively the worst thing that's come out. Wait, it's not. It's not the worst thing that has come out. It is the worst thing to come out in theaters. But it is not the worst thing to come out. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, I think, is A tier for me. I think I liked it more than Shang-Chi and No Way Home, but I do think I liked it less than Hawkeye. And I think part of that might be like momentum difficulty for Guardians of the Galaxy. Like the fact that, you know, we had all the drama with James Gunn, so it took a while for it to come out. I think you're gonna make your own. Do it, brother. I'll send you the link. I'd love to see. I'd love to see how your list compares. I think Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know that I enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed Hawkeye and Wakanda Forever. I would maybe put it on par with Hawkeye, but I'm gonna say A tier. And I saw a lot of other A's, so I don't think I'm completely off base here. It was really. Maybe I need to rewatch it. I like it better than Hawkeye? I'm gonna say I like it better than Hawkeye. I think I might need to rewatch this. Volume 2 is like up there as one of my favorite movies. I cannot watch Volume 2 without sobbing. Moving on. The worst thing to come out since Endgame, and I'm going to say the worst thing to ever have the Marvel Studios logo attached to it, is Secret Invasion. What a awful show. Awful show. What a waste of money that show was. $250 million for what? I'll show you for what. This. And the worst thing is that the Secret Invasion story arc is so interesting, and that you knew it was gonna be the arm. Secret Invasion could have been so interesting to do much later, and as an Avengers film. It was a disservice to so many things. Worst thing Marvel has put out. The Marvels, on the other hand, I really like them. I really like the Marvels. That might be a hot take. I know a lot of people disliked this movie. I had so much fun with this movie. Did I like it more than Falcon Winter Soldier? Let me be fair here. Maybe I didn't. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm moving Falcon Winter Soldier up to B. I told y'all I would. And I'm putting Marvels at C, which is basically mid. I think it's a little better than mid, but I don't know. And maybe part of me is like wants to be a little bit of a staunch defender for over aggressive online hate. I think Brie Larson is great. I think Iman Vellani is great. I think that the actress who plays Monica Rambeau, whose name I can't remember, is great. I think it's an awesome ensemble film. I think it gets overly hated. I think it sits perfectly in the middle, which it just might be. So I'm going to say top of C tier. I think that's fair. And I won't be crucified for that. Echo is D tier, but I'll say better than Quantumania. The villain did suck for the Marvels. Echo was so forgettable. It is the first Marvel show where they dropped all the episodes at once, and because of it, I didn't even finish it. Brother, you didn't need to. You did not need to. I like that they did it. It's cool that we got a amputee, deaf, Native American lead of an action superhero show. I would love to see her come back. I think she was really neat. She's probably going to be in Born Again season 2. But yeah, didn't blow me away by any means. Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm going to say See, my initial gut was to put Deadpool Wolverine at top of B tier. And then I see him like, did I like it more than Shang-Chi? No, I don't think so. Did I like it more than Spider-Man No Way Home? No, I don't think so. Did I like it more than She-Hulk? Yeah, I do think so. So I think like, high up there in B tier. Here's the thing. I think the reason I don't put Deadpool Wolverine higher is because I rewatched it. And if I'm going off the initial feeling of the first time I watched this movie, I think it goes higher. I watched the movie again when it came out on streaming, and I was like, man, so much of this movie is just huh? Which, like, I like that humor. I mean, I have She-Hulk up here, but maybe I did like it more than Far From Home. But I don't think I liked it more than Shang-Chi. So I'm going to say that. I'm going to say second highest in B tier, which is still good. That's still great. That's not a bad spot to be. Agatha All Along, I think A tier. I don't think it's high A tier, but I think it's A tier. I think Agatha All Along is some of the most interesting stuff to come out. Agatha All Along was just so refreshing and so fun, and it just the feeling of fun that I had watching this show week to week. Like, my wife and I were like giddy when we could sit down and watch more of this show, and I loved seeing it all play out, and the way it all unraveled in the end was so satisfying, very reminiscent of WandaVision. You could feel that it was the same creative team from WandaVision. A for Agatha. Exactly. And Jampy, if you're saying agree to disagree on Deadpool Wolverine, I ask you to watch it again. If you haven't seen it again since the first time, if you have and you still feel that way, I will agree to disagree with you 100%. But if you've seen it more than once and you still think it's S tier, then we're not. Then we're just gonna agree to disagree. But just give it another watch, because I really loved it on the first watch. On the second watch, I was like, look, the scene in the car alone is like so great, but like the entire final act and like all the cameos and everything really loses its luster when you know it's gonna happen. That's kind of my point about it. But Captain America Brave New World. Maybe I liked it more than Echo. It was bad. I really didn't want it. Y'all remember? You could probably pull up the VODs and watch me talk about like how promising and how incredibly relevant and like interesting that, like, you know, this is the Captain America movie that's coming out now. And they just completely dropped it. They just completely fumbled that bag. I would sooner watch Thor: Love and Thunder twice before I watch Captain America Brave New World. Yeah. And that's what I'll say. Now, Daredevil Born Again. Are y'all caught up on Daredevil? Did y'all finish season 1? Because here's what I'll say. If Daredevil Born Again was episodes 1, episode, I think like 5, and then the last 2 episodes, and it was that all the way through, it would be a strong contender for S tier. Because there was so much filler, because they completely fumbled the Muse arc, I'm gonna say high A. I think it's still a really good caliber show. Does it stand bar for bar where Daredevil, the Netflix series, left off? No. Does it stand close to like maybe season 2? Yeah. And that's still pretty good. That's still an A. Now, to the question that got us here. Need more Bullseye? Yes. And I think we will get him more in season 2. Now, the question that brought us here on this tier list, because I really needed to visualize everything that has come out. The new Avengers. I mean, Thunderbolts. I mean, new Avengers. Where does this fall? Is it the best movie that's come out since Endgame? Well, it's certainly not a D tier. It is better than all of these. It's certainly not a C tier. It is definitely better than all of these. I think it's better than Shang-Chi. I think I can confidently say it's better than Shang-Chi. So we're gonna stick it in A tier, and we're gonna do the climb. Up against Agatha. Yeah. But does it get past Daredevil? I think so. But can it go up against Guardians? I just saw you. Who needs therapy when you can watch Thunderbolts again? So true. Does it go up against Guardians? I think it just barely edges out Guardians. Can it beat Wakanda Forever? No. I'm going to say hard stop, no. It is not better than Wakanda. Both objectively, but even in like the greater realm of the MCU. So I think that's where it lands. So is the Thunderbolts / the new Avengers the best movie since Endgame? No. I think the best movie since Endgame is probably Spider-Man No Way Home. And even past that, the best movie objectively better is Wakanda Forever. Oscar nominated Wakanda Forever. Did it win? I think it won. I think it won for music, right? Wakanda Forever Oscars. Any? Yes. Best costume. There we go. Alright, so here we have it. Post Endgame, the best show and the best movie, WandaVision and Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, I think it's fair to keep in mind and fair to acknowledge that their recent releases, Agatha, Daredevil, New Avengers, Deadpool, Wolverine, are falling on the high end of this list. We're not talking about Captain America. So, we might be back on an upswing, which is really promising going forward. What's left for Marvel? Fantastic Four, which looks really promising. And then the back-to-back Avengers movies, Doomsday and Secret Wars, which we are cautiously optimistic for. And then we also have a Spider-Man movie in there, Spider-Man Brand New Day. Oh my gosh, and Ironheart. Ironheart comes out like next month, and we've seen like no trailers for it, which is crazy. Oh man, they're gonna bury Ironheart. Oh man, you might have to show up for that one, guys. All right, well there you have it. I would love to. Who was in here? David and Chad. I think you were saying you need to go up against me on your tier list. If y'all want to make your own tier list, by all means, please do. Send them over to me on Instagram or on Twitter. I'd love to see how we compare. I think this is pretty solid. I'm proud of where we stand here. You'll make one, hell yeah. I'll post it on my Instagram. And folks, if you want to know where to find me, this is me segueing into my outro. If y'all want to know where to find me and when I'm going live, the best place to be informed with that is on my Instagram, at JupyGorg everywhere. It's a very unique name. Not too many people tried to steal it from me. I usually post on Instagram when I'm going live. You can follow me on Twitter too. I got some hot takes there whenever I'm not live streaming. I am live most Mondays. I can't say every Monday because I missed last week. But y'all can follow me here on Twitch, YouTube, all the other platforms. Here to talk any and all movie news, especially when it comes to the nerdy movies. If you stuck around for the whole stream, I really appreciate you. Tell your friends, let them know that there's a guy here with a lot of hot takes about She-Hulk who would love to argue with you in the chat. But other than that, if you have any other movie or show recommendations that you want me to talk about, you see any trailers or any movie news that come out that you want me to watch, pop on by in the chat and let me know, or send them over to me on Instagram or Twitter. But folks, thank you so much for hanging out. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week, and I will see you all